Hey, welcome to Wisdom Wednesday with Pastor Josh. Wisdom is the quality or state of being wise, as knowledge of what is true, right, coupled with just judgment as to action, sagacity, discernment, and insight. We're going to look at what that means today on this edition of Wisdom Wednesday.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me again today on our podcast. We're in chapter 15 of Brant Hansen's book, Unoffendable. And so chapter 15 is entitled Nothing Left to Lose. And I love how Brant starts this chapter where he's really talking about, kind of the previous chapter and the fear and the anxiety and all that stuff. And I'm just going to read the first part of the chapter. He says, there's only one way to not be threatened by anything, and that's if you have nothing left to lose. And this is where this choosing to be unoffendable business really becomes not only possible, but also completely constant with the teaching. With the teachings and life of Jesus. Just making the choice and being mindful each day that, quote, I'm not going to let people offend me, unquote, is very happy, and it will make life better. But he says, ultimately, if I'm living in fear of losing something, whether it's security through status, looks, money, fame, family, whatever, I'm going to be fearful, more easily threatened, and therefore prone to anger. He says, there's a song called I Surrender All that I remember singing as a kid in church. The lyrics are, all to Jesus I surrender, all to him I freely give. I distinctly remember singing it once and hoping God wasn't listening. Have you ever done that? You sang the song hoping that God wasn't listening to what you were singing? I've heard it said that Christians don't tell lies, they sing them. Because a lot of our worship songs will sing it but not really mean it. And so he said, I actually didn't want him snatching my favorite puppet, a green furry monster named Burp. And he said, no, not him, not Burp, Lord. So, yeah, I surrender all except for Burp. And my Hot Wheels, now that I think about it. He says, and then I heard stories about people losing their moms or their brothers or their entire families, and I thought, God, I can't surrender that to you. I'm so sorry. I don't mean this song at all. So I still struggle with that. I've got my own kids now. I can't even think about losing one of them. And yet the song, I Surrender All, is surely appropriate. God wants us to give him everything, even our children, even our very lives. And so then he goes on to talk about several radio interviews that he had done, because he is a radio show host. And so many times he had people call in and they'd have these conversations, or he would end up writing people. And so he went through and he talked a lot. He basically recounts these conversations with people. And so he says, we say I trust Jesus or trust in the Lord and all of that stuff. But here's where the words actually mean something. What if the worst happens to you? Do you still trust him? And so really the whole chapter is all about it. It's not a real long chapter today. That's basically unless I was to read all the conversations that he had, it's a pretty short chapter. But the idea is, man, it's a powerful one. That, for us to really live as unoffendable people, we have to live lives that are surrendered to God, where everything we have is his. And because once we give all that we have to him, we're a lot less likely to be angry when somebody breaks a toy or something like that wasn't even ours. It's the Lord's toy. There's things like that where it's like, if we give to the Lord all of these things that we worry so much about, we care so much about, then a lot of that worry is taken care of, right? And then there's a lot less stress and defensiveness within us when something happens. And so it helps us to be positioned to be unoffendable. It has a lot to do with it. It's our perspective on whose it is and what rights we have to it. And so it's just a thought for today. It might be a harder thought. I'm going to let you chew on that today as we look forward to our podcast tomorrow. Thanks for joining me today. I pray that this whole surrendering idea which isn't just an idea, is a very, very call of Jesus to his disciples, was to come and follow him and to deny themselves and pick up their cross and follow him. Surrender's always been a part of it. It's always been a key part. And so it's the same with being offendable. We want to surrender it to him. And all to Jesus, I freely give, right? I surrender, I freely give. And so we just need to take note of that today and to really pray that God would help us to do that. So, love you. Thanks for watching this. We'll see you tomorrow.